So the next step then is to make end caps. Now, depending on how thin you've made this, I've got a pair of Wubbers here, and so the chain that I've made here is just slightly smaller than the small side of this pair of Wubbers. So for the end caps, you're going to be using 20 gauge wire. And you want it to be dead soft wire. And you will want to clean and straighten the wire to start. Now, how big you make these is entirely up to you. And the
how long should we cut it? I don't remember.
In the materials, I said to give yourself 12 inches. That should make both of them.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember.
So set these into the pliers and start working in the round. Now when I'm making a coil, I try to go on top of the previous round as opposed to underneath. So I'm working from the bottom of the pliers to the top of the pliers. The thing that's nice about Wubbers is that they have these straight sides. So you get the advantages of using a pair of round nose pliers, but you don't have to deal with the cone. So you want to keep a 3-finger hold on this, or a 2-finger hold, so that you don't end up dealing with a lot of spring back. What happens with any wire, regardless of what temper it is there always is going to be a little bit of spring back. And what that means is when you let go of the wire, it springs open a little bit.
And you just said make it as big as we want it to be?
Well, you want it to be big enough so that it's actually going to fit on over top of your knitting here.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, as far as width, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And you want to try and keep it as tight as possible. This has got a little bit of gapping, which you want to avoid.
Right.
Okay, so there I've got my coil. And you're going to have a tail left over. That's okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to check to see whether or not this is close to the size that you need. And you should be able to sort of screw it into the end cap a little bit so that it's sitting in there. So once you're comfortable that this end cap is actually going to fit, then take the knitting and put it aside. And now you want to make the top of the end cap. So put your piece of wire against the ruler here, and you're going to need anywhere from 2.5 to 4 inches on the end, depending on how big this is. So on mine, I'm experienced with this. So mine is going to be about 2.5 inches for what is effectively an 8mm, slightly, or 9mm end cap. So hang on a second here.
I have to start over. Mine didn't turn out long enough.
Okay.
But that's okay. Keep going. I just.
Yeah. So this is about 8.5, not quite 9mm wide. So for that, my end is going to be, and what you do is you measure from where the end cap, this piece of wire here exits the coil. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I cut that off. And then you need your jeweler's file, and you want to file the end of this. All right. Right. So then you set this into the tips of your round nose pliers. And bend a small hook like that. And then switch over to your flat nose pliers. And set this small hook into the base of your pliers down here. That way you have more control over it. And start turning a spiral into this wire. And you want to take your time with this and just go nice and slowly.
Diane, you said you made that tail 4 inches?
No, 2.5.
2.5. Oh, okay.
Now the goal here is to have this cap completely cover over your coil here. So as you're working, just keep an eye on it getting closer and closer. And then as it does get closer, if you notice that it's not parallel here, depending on how you're turning, this might be at an odd angle. Before you get to the edge of your coil here, just make sure that it's sitting flat and parallel so that you can tuck it over top of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I'm just about there.
That's really cool.
And working it a little bit more and a little bit more. And then at some point you're going to get to the point where you can't get your pliers in there anymore. So then you flip it over and work from the top, and then use your pliers to just very gently squeeze this into place.
Yeah.
And again, always just work in really small increments. You're not in a hurry, but you want it to fit nicely. There we go. Almost. Okay. And then just use your pliers to even everything up. And then with any luck, you'll have a nice looking end cap. That still needs a little bit of work. But you get the general idea, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
That will take some practice.
Yeah.
Yes. But the advantage is that you're making a completely handmade thing. You're not reliant on trying to find an end cap that's the right size for your chain.